Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers.
No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
Hey there, welcome to One Take, yet another day, yet another dollar. I'm Justin Fox. This is One Take, powered by backers. Justin Fox, Rick Valette. Rick, thank you very much for joining me on the show.
You're welcome, Justin, anytime.
Awesome. So Rick, you're in Alberta. You said just about half hour north of Calgary, 25 minutes.
South.
Where exactly are you? What was it called?
Yeah, so my wife and I live out in the country. So we're south of Calgary.
South of
25
Calgary.
minutes from the
Okay.
south edge.
Okay.
So place just south of Okotoks and just west of High River, but we're out in the country. So we have to look at the mountains every morning.
You look to the mountains every morning. So, and you say you're not far from the U.S. border. So hopefully they're not trying to escape. Did we build a wall yet to keep them in?
Yeah, there's a wall, 20-foot wall.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And we made
No,
them
no,
build
no.
it, right? No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. So I'll do a quick little intro here. Rick, you are an NHLPA certified agent with Octagon. And you, I mean, just to give you sort of background, I guess, so you are a lawyer by training, Queen's Law, right? And
Not a lawyer.
Not a lawyer? Okay, so you went to law school.
I'm not a lawyer, Justin. I did not.
You didn't do the bar.
I've attended some law school. That's what I'll tell you.
Our crack
At Mount
research
Royal
team.
and Queens.
What's that?
At Mount Royal and University and at Queens, yeah.
Right. So my crack research team didn't get that part. And then obviously you've been involved in hockey and a number of other organizations, investor in a business I saw here, Advanced Tech Consulting. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to leave it up to you. It's a choose your own adventure. Should we talk about your experiences kind of leading up and what kind of brought you to where you are, or do you want to just dive right into what it's like being NHLPA certified agent? And if you go that route, I want to know what day are they launch? No, what day is the NHL starting? No, just kidding. I don't know if you can put your prognosticator hat on, but yeah, choose your own adventure. Do you want to sort of talk about where you've been or where you are today?
Well, I noticed one thing, Justin, when I did do a little bit of research on you and your show.
Okay.
And I noticed that
You might be the first to have done so.
Yeah, I wanted to know what I was getting into.
Right.
So anyway, I noticed that your audience is a lot of entrepreneurs, etc.
Right.
And I was one of those entrepreneurs when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And so I've got a lot of respect and a lot of admiration for all young people or all people trying to get into business. It's a remarkable journey. And I started my first company, when I was 19 years old, and it turned into a really good company, and then another company, and then we sold those companies, my partner and I, and it turned out to be really, really good for us. But I remember, for your entrepreneurs out there, I remember my first year, and this is absolutely a fact. I was so scared to fail as a teenager. My partner was a teenager.
Right.
We went to work every single day of the year, including, I think we went to work on Christmas Day to do invoicing or something like that.
What were you guys actually doing? What kind of business was it?
So we had a bulk fuel, chemical, and fertilizer plant.
Okay. At
Yeah,
19.
Yeah,
That was so it was called Northland Agro. Is that
that's right. Yeah.
right? Okay.
A real cool company, and it grew into, by the time we were done, between that and what's on my resume there, Parkland Petroleum,
Right.
we had a bunch of retail stations. So when we were done, when we sold out, we had 100 employees, and
Wow.
it was really good. So and that's when I got into the hockey business. So I played hockey as a young guy, and then did the business thing, and then I remember my accountant calling me, and he says, "So what are you going to do now?" I was 33 years old.
Right.
And I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I know doing nothing's the worst job I've ever had. So
Right.
I've got to figure something out. And then he said that the president of the Raiders wanted to talk to me.
Okay.
And you know, okay, I can do that. So I talked to them. I met with their whole board, and I ended up as general manager and governor of the Prince Albert Raiders after that. And
Right.
so I did for a number of years. And
Interesting.
then, yeah, so I did that, and it was a really good experience. It was a really good team and a good community to work out of. So I was happy about that. And then from there, I it was a community-owned team, and
Right.
I told the board of directors in October, might have been early November, I'm going to leave next year. So next summer I'm leaving.
Okay.
So let's need a succession plan because and so I, we announced that it was a public announcement. So anyway, a lot of people knew I was going to leave, and so I had some offers from some agencies over the winter. And the reason I'd get those is because I dealt with agents all the time
Right.
with respect to my team.
Right. Especially, yeah, they're trying to
And,
recruit your players out of your team, right?
well, recruit my players, and also there's a European draft, and there's
Right.
players are represented by agents, and there's the NHL draft, et cetera.
Right.
So you get to network a lot in the NHL and in Major Junior. So anyway, I had a couple offers to go with some agents, and I actually said no the first time, if you can believe that, Just. And I thought about it, and I went, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I know I have to do something because the first time I tried to do nothing,
Okay.
like I said to you earlier, it was the worst job I ever had.
Right.
So anyway, so that I took some more education, did some things, and then joined Alan Walsh, I think is a name that I think a lot of your viewers will know.
Right.
And I think it was in 2002. And then Alan sold his practice to Octagon, and then I joined Octagon, and that was a long time ago. And here we are today, many years later.
Interesting. So I want to just ask one question because I think it's kind of interesting. And this is not sort of related to the NHLPA stuff, which I really want to delve into and I really want to talk about. But I think it's amazing that at 19, you had a bulk fuel factory. I don't know. Maybe it's Alberta, maybe it's a Western Canada thing, maybe it's a different sort of realm, but I don't understand how at 19 you were able to start. Like that doesn't seem like the typical startup for I think you even said 17 at one point, 17, 18, 19-year-olds to have. Like, just give me kind of like for people who are starting businesses, maybe that aren't that easy startup that, it seemingly to me sounds impossible. How do you at 19 start a bulk fuel, do you say factory or?
No, it was an agency, an Imperial
Agency.
Oil.
Okay.
Yeah, the capital requirements weren't that significant back in those days. That was 1979.
Okay.
And what had happened was, so you can't do that today because the
that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
You could not do what we did back then. So my partner and I had been doing some business ventures. I'll tell you about. Here's a true story. I turned 16 years old. I was raised on a farm in Saskatchewan. My dad is gone now, but he was an amazing man, and he always encouraged me to do things and try things and not to be afraid and all those things. Even though I was afraid all the time.
Right.
So my first venture was I was 16 years old. I just got my driver's license.
Right.
And on our farm we had some extra pasture, so I actually went to an auction mart on my own. I went to the local credit union. I borrowed enough money to buy 20 feeder steers for the summer because I thought I could make some money. I'm 16 now, right?
Yeah.
And so
my feeder steer, like you're talking about cattle.
Cattle, yeah.
Yeah, you bought 20 cows essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I go to the auction mart and I sit in the stands and I bid on these cattle. And anyway, I ended up buying a bunch of them, and I had to borrow the money. My dad co-signed the loan, and this is what was great about him. Like, he wanted me to learn. And
right.
Better way to learn. And by the way, he didn't come and help me haul them. He didn't check on me. It's like, hey, you want to do this? Figure it out,
Right.
And so anyway, I bought those. And
so what do you do with 20 cattle steer? Like, what was the intention there? I'll
Put 'em
plead
in-
ignorance. I have no clue. What do you do
put
with
them in
20?
pasture, let
Yeah.
them grow, and then resell them and try to make money on it.
Right. Okay. So it's sort of like a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing really well on this cattle deal that I did at 16. And then you develop, so you borrow money, do little things like that. And then by the time I got to 19 and 20, I had a relationship with the banks, and
Right.
they knew that, and so did my partner. So they knew that we were good for it. You can't do that today. It's totally different. Back then, you walked into the manager's office and you sat
Probably
there.
knew them, right? Or you like you knew of them, right? Or from sort of like family and friends, right? Inner circle. Interesting.
So anyway, that's how we were able to borrow some money. My dad helped us out as well, backing some of the loans that we needed. But that's how we did it back then, and it's different today. So the young people watching, I understand you can't do that today. Like I
Right.
know that, but I think it's kind of cool the way it was.
Yeah. I think it's different. I think that there's still opportunities like that. And I think the same sort of sentiment applies where, you start, maybe it sounds like it just, if I wanted to sort of paraphrase, you started smaller, had like an interesting idea, were able to kind of turn that into, another idea, and then kind of build from that credibility or build on that success. Maybe you had failures along the way. Maybe, you obviously made mistakes. I'm sure you learned a lot from each sort of, part of the journey. Actually, it reminds me, I talked to a guy the other day. You might find this a funny story. It's kind of like that guy who took a paper clip and, ended up with a house, right? He basically took, I forget what it was, something maybe a couple $100, and he turned it into like a $9,000, 2010 Mercedes, like through like trades, just kind of like trading up. Like you go from, I'll trade you this to this, and then that to that, and you kind of, barter your way up to all of a sudden now he's, whatever he started with, he's driving a 2010 Mercedes or Beamer or whatever. So it's more about like that, building that foundation and kind of growing from there. So I think those opportunities exist, but they're probably not the same limited regulations that maybe existed back then. So, okay, fast forward, successful, got in with the Raiders, the hockey organization, sort of Saskatchewan. It's Saskatchewan, right? Saskatchewan sort of junior hockey, I guess they would be considered. Western Hockey League, WHL. Okay.
Your
right,
equivalent in Ontario.
So the OHL,
Ontario
right?
Hockey.
Major junior. Yeah, exactly. You said that. I wasn't sure if they were WHL or how they connected in with the WHL. But so similar for people who hear the OHL, whoever that would be, Guelph Storm, London Knights, whatever. Okay. So you get in with them, and then you decide, hey, you're going to jump into potentially the agent world. You get offers, you turn those down, you kind of go bounce around a little bit. So now when you got in with Octagon, what was that like to kind of jump into the agent side of things? Like, what is it like being, I guess we'll jump right into this. What is it like being an NHLPA certified agent? Are you allowed to tell us who some of your clients are? Are you allowed to disclose that?
Yeah, I can give you some names, but I think that what's it like? It's funny. I get asked that a lot. I mean, kids want to know that,
Right.
if you ever go talk to a
Maybe
minor
I'm just a little kid. Little hockey fan. What's it like? Hey, Justin. Hey. Yeah, exactly. You put your little soft gloves on me. Just, hey, little Justin, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, exactly.
Justin, it's fine. I mean, a lot of people, it's curious, right? Because
Right.
you read about it, or you
Right.
hear about it. But really what it's like is, it's not, it's a lot of hard work, and
Right.
the way agency business works, and I love it, by the way, it's great, but it's a lot of research, it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of building business cases or contract cases,
Right.
as I would describe them, and those take time and effort to put together. You have to have clients, you have to build a reputation, it all takes a long time. I've been doing this now for, geez, I'm not even sure, 17 years maybe.
Wow.
So it took a long time to get to where I am. But it's a fascinating business too. The NHL is a $5 billion business, or it was before the pandemic. I think we were going to hit 5 billion this year. So,
Okay.
it's a big business, and
I'm sure it can rebound back. I mean, once I just heard today, Pfizer in the UK, they've authorized or approved, a 95% efficacy, what do you call it, vaccine. So who knows? Hopefully we all get back to right where we were, right? Like knock on wood. But yeah, I'm sure the NHL will rebound as well. But yeah, so it's a big business.
It's a big business, and the players are very special people.
Right.
They're in the top 1/100th% of
Right.
what they do, and they're so talented and so motivated, and so it's nice to deal with those guys. And part of our job is not only doing contracts, which is a lot of what we do, but it's also providing mentorship and guidance to these young men that like there's kids that start playing in the NHL at 18 years old. I mean, they've never bought a house, or they've never put together a mortgage, or they've never, all of those things. So there's a lot to it.
Does it become, so it's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, it can go a couple ways here. Like people have seen obviously the shows, I forget what it was called, but where it kind of follows a couple of NBA players and NFL players specifically, but I'm sure the truth holds with the NHL players, where they come into this money, they don't know necessarily how to deal with it. It kind of goes very quickly, and then before you know it, they're retiring, and some of them are potentially bankrupt. Does it become almost like a bit of a financial planner type of role that you're put into as that agent, as that manager? Kind of, do you provide those types of services for them?
We do. I offload that to our financial group, the Octagon Financial people.
Right.
So I get it's offloaded. So I'm part of the discussions, but I don't actually do that every day.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's an important field for a lot of young guys. Just think about it, Justin. All of a sudden, you're 20 years old, 19 years old, 21 years old, and you've got a chance to play in the NHL, and you're making 700,000, 800,000 a year.
Right.
So it changes your life.
Right. Interesting.
And sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. So you need some guidance.
So just quickly, can you name some of the guys that you work with? I'd love to hear just one name.
One name?
Give me three.
I'll give you two names.
Two names. Okay. All right.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Edmonton Oilers.
Okay. I think I've got a pair of Oilers gloves up here. I'm somewhat of an Oilers fan, but that's cool.
Are you really?
Nuge? Yeah. I grew up in the 80s.
Ontario and you cheer for the Oilers?
I do. Yeah.
You get away with that?
Somehow they let me. Yeah. I grew up in the 80s and sort of the Messier, Gretzky, heyday. So I was an Oilers fan, and I've kind of remained it throughout with the Dougie Waite, Jason Arnott days, and now obviously into the McDavid, Nuge, and all the other guys. So yeah, so Oilers fan, but
yeah,
surprisingly.
Yeah, the other name I'll give you, Jake DeBrusk. I just finished his contract. We just did a bridge deal in Boston.
Boston, yeah, I was gonna say, is he winger, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He's sort of up and comer. Interesting. So all those people out there is an opportunity. Let me ask a different question. How easy? So this seems like two different areas where you've gotten in. Maybe regulations or different things have changed. How easy or how difficult is it for somebody starting out to get into being an NHLPA certified agent, like becoming an agent, or even any sport? I don't know if there's differences or nuances in the sports, but is it a difficult field to get into at this point?
Extremely difficult.
Okay.
That's why there's so few of us.
Okay. Well, good question. How many agents are there in the NHLPA or NHLPA certified agents?
I actually don't know the answer to that. So I have to guess. I'm going to say there's under 200.
Wow. So would most have? So obviously Octagon would have multiple agents working underneath that organization. Yeah. So would how many Octagons are there?
Octagon agents, there's 6 of us.
No, sorry. Yeah, that's interesting answer. But I meant more like how many sort of Octagon like organizations of groups of agents would there
I
be?
see.
Like major sort of players in the game, if you will, to not, no pun intended, major players. Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess 30 or 40.
So it's pretty consolidated into, a small group of, and are they mostly Canadian or US based?
There's also European agents too.
Or you're,
You know,
oh, right, okay.
as you know, there's a lot of European players in the National Hockey League.
Interesting.
So European agents, there's Canadian agents, there's American agents. Yeah.
So do you deal with players in other leagues? Like, would there be a KHLPA or something along those lines, certified agents?
The KHL has a players association. They do, and I'm not certified in Russia. I've been to Russia several times, but I'm not certified over there. Most of the Russian players that come to the NHL, they're represented by, firms that have Russian people. Like Octagon has Alexei Dementiev that represents Russian players. So we have Vladimir Tarasenko plays in St. Louis, for example.
Right. Okay.
But that's Alexei Dementiev's client.
How's his knee doing? Or was it his knee or Achilles? Tarasenko. He's back. He's coming back. All right. Yeah. Perfect. Well, okay, Rick, I really appreciate you taking some time to join me today. Who are you a fan of? Are you a Flames fan, or can you be a fan?
No, I'm a fan of my clients. I don't cheer for any team. I can't think about it.
I realize that it's sort of, it sort of goes against what your job is, right?
Yeah.
But
right.
Growing up, who were you a fan of?
So when I was a little kid, my mom and dad and my 2 sisters cheered for the Boston Bruins, and I cheered for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay. So there you go for your Ontario people.
Right. Okay. So there was mixed crowd right there. I'm going to ask you one last question. 3-on-3 overtime. What are your thoughts on 3-on-3 overtime? Since you're a hockey fan and I started a 3-on-3 pro hockey league, what are your thoughts there?
So here's what I would say to you is that the players enjoy it, right? But more than that, the fans really enjoy it. Like when you're at a game and it goes to 3-on-3, there's an energy in the crowd. So I'm a fan of 3-on-3. Awesome,
cool. Well, I really appreciate you joining me here, Rick, and taking your time out of the day. Everyone else, this is One Take, powered by Backers. I'm going to end it with one last question. Rick, if there was one word, one piece of advice that you could give maybe your players or a younger you or an entrepreneur coming up in the game, what would that one word be?
Persistence.
Persistence. Perfect. Awesome. Well, Rick, thank you very much for joining me. Everyone else, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks, Rick.
You bet.
Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.
Hey there. Welcome to One Take, powered by Backers.
No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
And the millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.